Right, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast. Hopefully you're okay. As you can tell, different surroundings, the new home of the podcast for, I guess, the foreseeable future. It's all a bit strange. I'm sure it's quite strange for you watching this, even more strange for me actually living the experience at the moment. It is very, very new, very new. And I wanted to sort of touch a little bit on me, not for too long, because I understand we're here for the football, and I think the football will be a really good, I think, not coping mechanism, because I think it's important to sort of actually express exactly what is going on, because I think sometimes you sort of always you're sort of in one bubble, and this is an amazing opportunity that I have to speak to people and speak to a community that we've created, and it's going to really help. I believe it will really help, because for me right now, I've just been to university. That's why I'm in a new place, and of course I've never been to university before. I've never had to sort of experience this transition before, and it's really, really daunting. Really daunting. Of course, I'm very lucky. I want to say that as well. Whatever I say in the next sort of few minutes, I'm also very lucky to be able to go to university, because I understand a lot of people don't have that opportunity, and people might be watching this who never got to go to university for any reason that they weren't able to go. And obviously, I don't want to sit here and I guess moan about my situation, because I'm not moaning. I'm just expressing my emotions and how I feel. And like I say, I'm really lucky also to have a podcast. I started the podcast over 2 years ago, and that was an opportunity for me basically to talk about football. And if anybody watched it, it was a bonus. If anybody listened to me talk about football, it was a bonus. It was all about just me switching on a camera, chatting about what I love most, and that is football. And that is what it is, and it's what it always has been, and it will continue that way. And like I say, I want to sort of touch on me a little bit, not for too long, because I also think, like I say, talking about the football is where I feel most comfortable, and that at the moment is what I want to be. I want to be as comfortable as I can. I want to be as happy as I can, because I don't know whether or not you've watched. I don't know whether you not have maybe gone through this transition, or watched maybe someone go through this sort of transition. And this sort of journey. I've been always really lucky that actually I've had people that I've known from, let's say, primary school to secondary school, or from secondary school to sixth form or college, if that's something that you did. Maybe people have been to university that are watching this before, or maybe you're at university as well, or maybe you can relate to this in the right now, if you like, in the present, and maybe you're on that transition, and maybe you're on that journey yourself. And if you are, then amazing, you'll probably be able to relate to this more than anybody. But it's not really about relating, it's more about sort of, I guess, expressing how I am. And yeah, it's sort of like a coping mechanism a little bit, short term. It's quite therapeutic, short term, and it's going to help me. So actually, by you watching this right now, you are really helping me, and you don't understand how much you're helping me. God, I've got a bit, don't want to go too down that road. I'm a little bit up and down with the emotions at the moment, but you are helping me. You're helping me a lot. So thank you for that. Let's get into the football. But before we get into the football, let me know how your weekend was. Because and also, and the reason why I asked you that, and the reason why I talk about that, and talk about community, and I want to touch on that really briefly, is because I remember you might be watching this right now thinking, what is this kid on about? What is this guy on about? He's talking about how I'm just watching a roundup for League One games. How is that helping him? But it's because we've built a community. And I want to shout out two people. And by the way, if I don't mention you, I see everybody in the comments. I read every single comment, but two people in particular, and that's Matthew Bell and that's Paul. Two people that have been here from the absolute start, and that doesn't mean that they're any better than anybody that watches this. I'm so appreciative of anybody that just clicks on the podcast, anybody that just comments, like I say, watches a second, watches a minute, leaves a like, subscribe. Anybody new or old, it does not matter. But I know Matthew will be watching this. I know Paul will be watching this, and these are two people that have actually been here from literally the early beginnings, right from the start. And yeah, I've bumped into Matthew once. I've never met Paul before. I'm sure I will one day. Bumped into Matthew accidentally once, and yeah, they're two of the most kind people that I've, and it sounds really bizarre, but in this sort of, I don't want to say industry, because it's not an industry. I mean, it is sort of, but I don't see myself in that. They are one of the most supportive and amazing people that I've ever come across in this world, even though they're not in this world as well, but people that watch the podcast. And like I say, that doesn't mean, and you don't understand, I'm so appreciative of every single subscriber, every single person that watches it, every single individual that just takes a second to just watch, like I say, any part of the podcast. I really, really am. I am rambling, I am repeating myself, but as you can tell, I'm a little bit on a roller coaster at the moment, and it's tough. It's tough, but the tough times, they'll move on. They'll move forward, and those tough times hopefully will turn into really positive times. By the way, the lighting is all off. I haven't even set up any lighting for this, so yeah, apologies for that. But I'll be completely honest with you, the lighting is the least of my problems at the moment, so I can only say sorry for that. Anyway, let's get into the football. I just wanted to also say that as well, just so that people understood why maybe my, I don't want to say charisma, but maybe my attitudes towards certain things, maybe the way I express myself on camera and things like that might be a little bit different, and that might be the case for weeks, might be the case for months. Hopefully not. If I feel like this in months' time, I really, really hope it isn't the case. But, you know, it will come. It will come. And positivity is important. It really, really is. At this, you know, really personally quite challenging time. But like I say, it's not me moaning. It's not me saying that I'm unlucky or, you know, anything like that. It's just a transition that, again, will take time, and it will improve. I'm confident of that. And talking of things that need to improve, Oxford United vs MK Dons. That's the first game. We didn't do a match reaction, and we never normally do Oxford actually in roundups. We never normally do it. We always sort of have a dedicated match reaction. I'll be honest, I moved in yesterday when the game was being played, but I did watch the game, and it wasn't very good at all. Another defeat for Oxford United in League One against MK Dons. And like I say, talking of things that need to improve, Oxford, they need to improve. They really, really do, because we're in a very difficult situation at the moment. Now, back-to-back defeats in League One, 2 losses in the last 2. Also facing a side in MK Dons who did not have a good start to the season whatsoever. They lost both of their games as well, coming into the one yesterday. They didn't look amazing. They didn't look amazing yesterday, but they certainly look better than us. And when it comes to football, normally that's normally how you're quite successful against an opposition. We look sloppy. We looked full of mistakes. I don't know whether or not we've got possession lost here. Actually, exactly the same. That's really bizarre. 159 to 159 possession loss. That's fairly high, actually. In terms of pass accuracy, actually higher than I thought. 79% for pass accuracy. We actually did better when it comes to accuracy of passes, and we had more passes, but it was such a slow game. It was slow. It was difficult to watch, really difficult to watch. I mean, there were moments of where the tempo did pick up, but you felt that it felt really hard for the players to just try and string an opportunity together, try and string passes together. And I'm actually surprised by that pass accuracy, and sometimes that's what I mean about stats being misleading. I think that probably is an example of stats being fairly misleading. So, yeah, that's why we always sort of be careful when we do look at it like that. But you know, it just felt really difficult to sort of transition. We're still really struggling to make a multiple amount of clear-cut chances, something that Oxford have been so good at in recent years. We've been almost a side that creates chances with complete and utter ease. We're so fortunate that we did create so many chances in a game. We could concede 2 or 3 goals, but we knew we'd create probably 6 or 7, 8 clear-cut chances, and we could take at least one of those, and concede 2. We probably would take 3 of those. The amount of 3-2 wins that we won last season, that was all down to the fact that yes, we were sloppy defensively, but going forward, you knew that there was going to be that next chance that was going to come. And unfortunately, this season, you lose, you concede 2 goals, you're going to lose. If you're Oxford United, with the amount of chance that we are creating, so to say. And again, that's a real struggle. As for MK Dons and the way that they played, I mean, like I say, it felt like 2 sides that weren't playing with real quality. And it was 2 sides that you sort of felt lacked in confidence, which you can see why. These were 2 sides, and ironically, I said this when I was watching the game itself, I said, it's so weird how these were the 2 sides that played the best football last season. If you could pinpoint 2 sides last year that you go, they play great football. MK Dons and Liam Manning last season, obviously still under Liam Manning, but definitely not the same sort of side, unrecognisable really. And same with Oxford. You'd go Carl Robinson's side, absolutely extreme chance creation, goal scoring, thrilling games of football. You'd say that for both of the sides. In fact, I'd say MK Dons were actually better all round. They were very good going forward, scored a lot of goals, played some really good football, but actually defensively were good as well, or better than Oxford for sure. But this season, unrecognisable. And when you sort of analyse the game, it felt like it was two sides that you knew were low in confidence and not the same side whatsoever as last season. I look at the graph here as well, the momentum graph. Actually, MK Dons did start the better side. Oxford tried to get some sort of control in the game and did. And then, just before half-time there, 1-0 to MK Dons. Oxford probably had we hit the post, I believe. Was that in the first half? Yeah, we hit the post twice in the space of about 2 seconds in the first half, and they were big chances. But you just felt as well that, again, we're missing an element of luck, and I don't want to blame luck, but you do feel as though we are getting quite unlucky at times as well. But generally, you can't blame luck as an ultimate thing, and as the outstanding thing, because we're not creating enough chances. And when you miss the ones you are creating, there is an element of luck in that, but then there's also an element of, we can't be naive and thinking you're going to score every single chance if you're only making 2 or 3 a game. And the way that we progressed the ball, like I say, through defence to midfield was slow. It lacked tempo. So many misplaced passes. It was sort of backwards too much of the time. I just think that the formation is just not it. But again, we're missing so many players. But it's just a really difficult thing to watch. It's really difficult to watch and actually pinpoint at the moment. But it's not good enough, and that's the bottom line. They conceded literally just before half time. Matthew Smith, it looked like an own goal, I think, but because it was going on target, they gave it as a goal. It was just a really good. It was actually a really good move down that sort of right hand side, a ball straight into the area. I think it was Messina that actually would have put it in his own net, but I think it was going on target, so it counted as Matthew Smith's goal. But again, it was a good move and it was a simple move. And one thing that MK Dons would, and as much as I said MK Dons maybe didn't have as much quality as last season, it was almost two sides lacking confidence. They did look much better, and they actually looked like that they could make things look much easier than Oxford could. A move by MK Dons was much easier than Oxford United. And again, and that's not difficult, because at the moment Oxford United are making things look very difficult and very tedious. They scored again from the penalty spot. I mean, to be fair, Eastwood got stitched up with the actual penalty anyway. He gave away the penalty, but he got stitched up by the fact that it was he needed to make that challenge and he needed to make that decision to come out, and in the end he missed the ball and he wiped out the player. So again, you can't really argue too much with Simon East when it comes to that. And then of course the next goal was an Oxford United goal, which is always nice. It was a set piece. John Messina, who again, he's having to play lighting's gone there. He's having to play at centre back for 90 minutes in games. What is he, 37? I might be, sorry John if you're watching this, 36, 37 I think. And yeah, he's playing 90 minutes of football, and that again shows that we are weak in numbers, we are weak in depth in positions. That comes down to injuries, but also I think our transfer window once again simply wasn't good enough. And I said that last Tuesday after Plymouth, and I said this again, and I'm saying this again now, and we are seeing that. I said it before the start of the season. I made a video saying I'm dreading this season. We're lacking in depth. Our squad isn't as good as it was last season, and we are being exposed to that. We're being exposed to that, and anyone that sort of sees that as a surprise, it's not a surprise to me, because, and that's not just I told you so, because we all hate them, don't we? But it's one of those where you look at it and you go, yeah, it's not quite right. It's not quite right. And you just look at that league table and you look at the way we're playing, the performances are not giving any sort of confidence. They're not sort of covering up the results because they're that bad. It'll be concerning. And Robinson will be concerned as well. Of course he will. Robinson will be really concerned because he knows that the importance of winning games of football at this point in the season, starting strong, not being able to play catch-up because of the quality in this division. And his job's under threat. His job's under threat, whether you think it should be or not, it is. Because you don't get results, it's a results business. And he's not getting results at the moment, and he's not getting performances either. So we'll have to wait and see. But for Oxford, another disappointing defeat for MK Dons. The back to winning ways. Has not been a good start to the season for either side, but MK Dons, the battle of the two clubs that played amazingly last season, but can't, that haven't started this season at all very well. MK Dons, they come out on top in this one. So, yeah, disappointing. Disappointing indeed. Right then, let's go to Bristol Rovers, because this game had goals. It had something called goals. 9 goals in one game of football. We spoke about it. It was a 4-4 draw between Cambridge and Burton, and we said that is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, to have a 4-4 draw. No, it's 4-3, wasn't it? Sorry, it's 4-3. And we sort of said how that is absolutely ridiculous, absolutely crazy. 6-3 is taking that to an absolutely different level. 6-3 is taking that to a different level completely. 6 goals conceded by the home side in Bristol Rovers. Not ideal. For Lincoln though, I mean, you can see by just looking at the sort of individual ratings here, all over the shop comes to mind. Absolutely all over the shop. Defenders with very low ratings, definitely for Bristol Rovers, conceding 6 goals, as you can imagine, and the goalkeeper as well. But the attackers of both of these sides, 9.1, 9.2. Goals everywhere. Hat-trick for Jack Diamond, of course, the new man at Lincoln City. I believe from Sunderland. Is that where they got him from? I could be wrong there, but I think he was at Sunderland before. I look at Aaron Collins as well, who's of course a real goal scorer. We know what he's done in a Bristol Rovers shirt, and this season he has started very, very well. Got another 2 goals yesterday, unfortunately, in a game in which they did lose quite heavily. Ben Howe scored 2 goals. Again, a goal that, absolutely goals everywhere, incredible. Looking at the league table and what this means for the side before we sort of go back into detail on the game. What a crazy game. Bristol Rovers now in that relegation zone, and their form is not looking great. And I'm a little bit concerned by Bristol Rovers. I'm a little bit concerned by them. I thought they'd be safe as, not sound, but I thought they'd be fine. I thought they would be fine, and they still might be. It's very early days, very, very early days, but you can sort of see quite a lot from the first sort of 9-10 games. I know we are on 9 games, but these sort of first big block of games, you can sort of analyse quite a lot from them. And what I can see here is a side that conceded a lot of goals. 19 goals conceded. Only the side only worse than that is Burton. Of course, we know how bad they're getting on at the moment, but won their last game, so congratulations to Burton. We'll come on to that briefly. But yeah, they're conceding a lot of goals, Rovers, 19 in total. Look at that recent form as well, if we just scroll down here. The last time they won was against Oxford United, so a long time ago. A long time ago, really, in the grand scheme of things. Even in the cup competitions, they haven't had too much luck either. So actually, if you count all competitions, they've lost one. Well, they haven't won a game in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So again, cup competitions, people have their opinions on it. I'm not too worried about it. But in terms of league games, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 5 games without a win. And again, like I say, they are conceding too many. Their goal scoring ability is actually there. 13 and 19 isn't horrific, and 13 goals in 9 games isn't bad at all. But this will be a bit of a shock. It would have come a little bit of a shock. Lincoln City 8th in the league now, back-to-back wins for them. They've had a really bizarre start to the season, very inconsistent, very up and down, but they got 13 points. They're 1 point away from the top 6. They've had a really, really up and down season. 3 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses, 14 and 14, very even, exactly even when it comes to goals scored and goals against. Absolutely crazy, really. Look at Lincoln City's records. They've sort of been battered by, Peterborough 4-0. They've actually then gone and won game 6-3 away from home. They've been to Oxford and won that game 2-1. They've had a really up and down start to the season, a bizarre start to the season, but they'll certainly take this result, and so they should. Looking at the graph here, I mean, lots of goals to highlight. You can see here, in fact, that's quite crazy. We'll come on to sort of when the goals come in a little bit of detail in sort of chronological order, but if you start looking at who sort of had the biggest momentum across the game, fairly even really up until I'm going to presume about the 30th minute to the half an hour mark, quite even, both sides sort of having moments, but not many big moments. Still 3 goals in that time. Quite a big moment for Bristol Rovers. The sort of start to the second half was absolutely incredible. By the way, there's another goal, 4 goals in the first half. It was 3-1 to Lincoln City, of course, in the first half, and the start to the second half, Lincoln absolutely blew them away. And then Bristol Rovers, in all of that again, managed to get a goal. I mean, in fact, let's have a look at it. 7th minute, 1-0. 14th minute, 2-0. 18th minute, 2-1. 3-1 at half-time to Lincoln City. Jack Diamond scores his second of the game in injury time of that first half. Second half, mental. Absolutely crazy. And the way that started, 51, 56, 59, 61. In the space of 10 minutes, there has been 4 goals. Absolutely. I mean, it's Sunday League scoreline, isn't it? It's a Sunday League sort of game of football, but it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant for a neutral. Not so much for Bristol Rovers, I must say. And then Aaron Collins makes it 6-3. Scores a consolation goal, if you like, in the 65th minute. And actually, from the 65th minute till the end of the game, it's quite quiet. But again, 4 goals in 10 minutes. 9 goals in 65 minutes, just over an hour, and we've seen 9 goals in a game of football. It's bizarre, it's crazy, but it's League One. I'm telling you, it's League One. It's absolutely mind-blowing. But like I say, for a neutral, amazing. For Lincoln City, incredible. For Bristol Rovers, very, very worrying, and not the result whatsoever that we wanted to see. 6-3 to the away side in this one. Bristol Rovers losing, Joe Barton's side losing 6-3 at home. Crazy. Not a good result for Bristol Rovers. But again, for Lincoln, their inconsistent start to the season only continues. Right, let's move on to Pompey. Let's go to Fratton Park, and Plymouth, should I say, because they face each other second against third, I believe, before this game, and that is still the same, second against third. In fact, the top 4 sides all drew yesterday. Absolutely. It's, again, another different avenue, avenue and take on what's been a really, really good start to this season. We spoke about it last season, how unpredictable, how crazy last season was. Well, it is only continuing this time around, and we're only 9 games in. So Ipswich will come on to... Are we coming on to Ipswich? Yeah, of course we are. We'll come on to Ipswich against Sheffield Wednesday in just a second. But Pompey against Plymouth is this one. I've seen Plymouth play this season on Tuesday. Haven't seen Pompey play 90 minutes yet, but I have seen Plymouth play, like I say. It was not a good watch against Oxford United from an Oxford perspective. But Plymouth, you could see that they've got certain quality. Going forward, a little bit wasteful, I found. I think they were a bit wasteful in the final third, a little bit... they didn't take the chances, and they created quite a few chances. They took the all-important chance, and if they had taken the chances that they did create, they definitely would have won against Oxford 3 or 4-0, fairly comfortably. I'm comfortable in saying that. They won the game 1-0, but it was a comfortable 1-0 win. We never really looked like we were going to score. We had one big chance that was an absolute sitter that Carl Joseph missed, but other than that, we didn't really create anything at all, and we did not look the side whatsoever. And Plymouth fans in the comment section down below were saying how we just did look like such a deteriorated side from previous years. And when an opposition says that, you can really, really assess things. And it's true. It really, really is true. Last season against Plymouth, they were brilliant games of football, and they were tight, but they were goal-scoring games. I think it was 3-2 to Plymouth, and then it was 1-0, but there was a lot of chances in that second game, and Oxford probably felt they should have won it. This season, the first game against them on Tuesday, it was a really, really bad performance, but I was really impressed by Plymouth up until that final third. But they scored 2 goals against Portsmouth. We'll come on to Pompey as well now. Second in the league. If you haven't watched my Pompey episode with Tom from 4-0 written all over it, it's on the channel. It's done really, really well, really. I'm really, really happy with it. We've got part 2 coming out on Monday, which is really exciting. And we sort of delved deep for part 1. Part 2 sort of based on League 1. We sort of got our awards, if you like. We've got our sort of 9 game awards. Most underwhelmed side we've sort of found. Most impressed we've been by a club. Manager of the month, all that sort of exciting stuff. That's part 2, that's coming out on Monday. But we did Pompey, and a dedicated Pompey episode, and we sort of delved deep into what's been a really good start to the season for Portsmouth, and I think we can all agree it has been that. 21 points. The winning run does come to an end for both sides, but they're still unbeaten so far this season. 9 games in, still, like I say, unbeaten. 6 wins, 3 draws, 8 goals conceded, but 19 goals scored. They're a goal-scoring side. In fact, they are now still the top goal scorers, I believe, unless I can see. No, they're not. They are. No other side has got more than 19 so far, so they are still the top goal scorers. In terms of looking at the graph here, it's quite a slow start to the game. I mean, you'd probably say Plymouth probably edged it a little bit, then Portsmouth really found their feet, then sort of Plymouth sort of came back into it, then Pompey before half-time, and before the half-time whistle went, they definitely did take control of the game and look really good, you'd say, going forward. Then second half, it's fairly, it'd probably be fairly Plymouth, really, especially in sort of the last sort of few, last sort of 30 minutes, really, but really, just before half-time, Portsmouth take the lead, and it is Josh Cromer. And I've watched Tom's vlog, and I've watched the highlights of the game. It's an absolute finish. What a goal that is from Josh Cromer. And I was saying, just before half-time, Pompey were the better side. Quite even, really. Both sides sort of had their moments in the first half. He pretty edged towards Pompey. But that big moment before half-time, when it really matters to score a goal, and to score a goal like that, Josh Cromer, what a finish. We spoke about the 4-4-2 in the episode as well. And we spoke about how Josh Cromer, Owen Dale, Dane Scarlett, Colby Bishop, and of course we've got Ronan Curtis who didn't play, or didn't start, should I say, and of course Josh Cromer was on there instead of Curtis. But either way, they've got the options, and that Tom Lowry, Marlon Pack partnership's only getting better. That back four is really strong. there's such balance in that squad. But Josh Koroma, that goal was absolutely sublime. What a finish from the lad. It was it was like a side-footed, top corner, cut in, wonder strike. Absolutely incredible stuff from him. And he had a brilliant game yesterday. A really, really good game yesterday. Into the second half we go. It was sort of quite even, quite up and down for both sides, sort of having their moments and falling off pressure. The other side sort of trying to get back into it. And then, sort of when Plymouth probably did have most of the ball, most of the attacking momentum, they scored 2 goals. One was an own goal by Sean Raggett, and this makes it 2-1 in the 79th minute. I imagine Fratton Park at that point a little bit concerned, but like Tom said in his video, you've got to rate Plymouth for the fact that when they did sniff out a moment where they could capitalise and they could score 2 goals and make it really difficult for Pompey, because they did at times. They did make it difficult, and this moment in particular, you can see why they're up there. You can see why they're up there. An instinctive side like that will catch you off guard. I think in that spell of what was it, 79 and 74, 5 minutes, they definitely did, I think, catch Portsmouth off guard. And you've got to completely appreciate the fact that Plymouth, they're not going to be third in the league for no reason. I'm going to say luckily, but it is not because I'd say they are lucky, but again, luckily for Portsmouth, they do get an equalising goal in the 4th minute of injury time. Rico Hackett-Fairchild makes it 2-2, a brilliant way to win the game for the home side. For Plymouth, they'll be feeling, of course, frustrated because they were winning the game with 10 minutes to go, but late goals, it's what all fans are absolutely all about. We love a late goal. Any football fan loves a late goal, especially when it's on your end, I should say. But a brilliant game of football, a really good game of football, a really good spectacle. 2 sides at the start of the season really well, 2-2, tight game you'd say, but not in terms of the scoreline. Tight game in the fact that it was edgy at times, it was quite nervous, I imagine, but there were goals in that. And I'm sure that made it even better for the neutral. I know Tom enjoyed it. I know quite a few Plymouth fans will be a little bit annoyed by it, but I'm sure they enjoyed it as well. Right then, let's move on to the next one. We've got Sheffield Wednesday against Ipswich, another 2-2 draw. Again, what a set of fixtures it was, by the way, this weekend. Sorry there wasn't a predictions episode or a preview. Again, like I say, this last week, sort of attempting to prepare to move in yesterday has been a real whirlwind. And couldn't get an episode out, unfortunately. I'd love to, because there's lots of games to preview. The amount of games, of course, a full programme, but also the fact that a lot of the top 6 sides going head to head, but thankfully we're getting a roundup. Thankfully we're doing a roundup, and I'm really enjoying it. So Sheffield Wednesday against Ipswich Town, 2-2 the final score, exactly the same as Portsmouth against Plymouth. Again, let's come on to the graph in just a second. Let's go down to the league table. Ipswich still top of the league, top of the table, 21 points, 6 goals conceded, the best defensive record alongside Bolton, I believe. Still unbeaten, like I say, 3 draws, 6 wins, 18 goals scored. They are slowly catching up to Portsmouth, the top 2 sides scoring a lot of goals. We're sort of seeing that you've got to score goals to be successful and to have a good start to the season. Breaking news, you look at Oxford, only 8 goals scored, 10 goals Ipswich scored more than Oxford. That is the gap. When we talk about where the problem is for Oxford, I mean, we're not creating many chances, we're not scoring enough goals, and we're getting beaten in many departments, but that's looking at Oxford too much. We've already spoken about them. For Ipswich, a brilliant start to the season. A draw in this game, always going to be a difficult place to go. Hillsborough, very, very challenging. For Hillsborough and for Sheffield Wednesday, last 2 games, a win and a draw, 17 points, 5 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses, 9 goals conceded, 17 goals scored. So very close actually between Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday 1 less goal than Ipswich, conceding a couple more goals, 3 more goals in total, compared to Kieran McKenna's side. Looking at the graph here, really good way of breaking down the game. You can see fairly tight, actually, early doors, but even when it was fairly equal, Ipswich did look the better side really going forward in the early stages, and I think reaped the rewards of it. 1-0, Caden Jackson, 4-0, 4 goals, 4 goals? There was 4 goals, that is what I meant to say. 4th minute, 1-0. You can tell the mind is absolutely all over the shop at the moment. 1-0 at half-time, a couple of bookings in that. But really, I look at the rest of the game. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday, home side, after that goal, we did see a reaction from Sheffield Wednesday and Darren Ward's side. They did look better when they came forward. Then Ipswich sort of tried to get back into the game. And then Sheffield Wednesday then took charge again. But still, Ipswich leading at the break 1-0. They'll be happy with it. Of course, they'll be very, very happy with it. Leading against Hillsborough, at Hillsborough, against Sheffield Wednesday, it's going to be absolutely, the dream situation. Bite your hand off. Bite your hand off, is that the saying? Snap your hand off or bite your hand off, either way. Biting Probably not recommended, but either way, you get the saying. Certainly will take that at half time. Second half, equal, you'd say. 71st minute, own goal. And what I mean by equal is equal in terms of the amount of chances. You probably would say Sheffield Wednesday edging it slightly in those attacking phases, but it was fairly equal in the fact that they both sort of did have their moments. 71st minute, Dominic Iorfa makes it 2-0. Well, he doesn't make it 2-0, it's an own goal, but he does make it 2-0. Of course, Dominic Iorfa, the player for Sheffield Wednesday, 2-0 down, you're thinking, well, Sheffield Wednesday fans are definitely thinking, I'm not quite sure how we're going to react to this, but they did react to it brilliantly well. The comeback certainly on. 75th minute, 4 minutes later, 2-1. George Bryce, the midfielder, assisted by Marvin Johnson, back into the game, and there's a sense of belief, and the belief is there. And for Ipswich, when Sheffield Wednesday are going to be sort of on that real charge, and they are on that charge, being the home side, and now knowing that they've got 15 minutes to really come back into the game, they've certainly got that momentum, and they've got that ability to do it. They've got the quality for sure. They've got the players to do it. They were able to. 2-2. Michael Smith, 89th minute. Of course, the ex-Rotherham United striker, making it 2-2 and equalising with 1 minute to go, but 7 if you include the injury time, and the final score ending at 2 goals apiece. Ipswich will be frustrated because, of course, they were 2-0 up in the game, and it finishes 2-2. So there will be a sense of frustration in that, but you've got to be completely, I think, in full respect towards Sheffield Wednesday, because they did come back, and they showed that sense of belief and comeback and resilience and the desire to come back and draw that game, and they were able to, and they'll be very, very pleased with it. Actually, as well, playing pretty much exact same formation, so going against each other with that 3-4-2-1, really, really interesting tactical battle as well. Really interesting tactical battle. In terms of actual individual performers, Sheffield Wednesday did better. 7.01, 6.39. Not very good, you say, for Ipswich in terms of those individual stats, but we won't look into that too much because we understand that, George Bryce gets an 8.4. He did get in a goal, so that might boost his rating up a little bit, maybe higher than some people might think. But generally, I think, it was a really fascinating encounter. And after that, it does see Ipswich top of the league still, because, of course, Pompey drew as well, and so did Plymouth, and Sheffield Wednesday are still fourth after that game. 17 points from those opening 9 games. And they'll be happy with that, I'd say. I think they'll be fairly happy with it. They might have felt they could have, maybe, if they sort of had 7 minutes, could they have maybe gone on and won that game 3-2, but they were 2-0 down, so let's not go over the top here. Coming back from 2-0 down itself is a very, very good thing, and something they'll be very, very happy with when they analyse this weekend and this fixture, because very tough game, of course, extremely tough, playing top of the league. They probably would take a 2-2 draw if I had said that at the start of the game, and before the game kicked off. Derby County, very dominant against Wycombe, very, very good, the home side, coming out on top. They went 1-0 down in the game, 1-0 at half-time, they came back in that second half and won that game 2-1. Bolton Wanderers beating Peterborough United 1-0. Bolton in the second half, the much better side, quite equal in that first half, but second half, definitely Bolton deserving to win the game. And you can see the goal came quite late on as well, but 0-0 at half-time, quite edgy in that first half. Second half, Ian Everett's boys definitely took control. Morecambe, travelling to Forest Green Rovers, the away side, Morecambe winning the game 2-1. A little bit concerning, Forest Green, that. Two sides we sort of expected to be down there come the end of the season. Morecambe coming out on top, 1-1 at half-time. Again, a very late goal. What is it with late goals this weekend? So many late goals. Morecambe winning it very, very late on. Cambridge United against Barnsley. Barnsley very convincing in their win in terms of scoreline. Cambridge, they did have their moments, but generally when it mattered, Barnsley, they took their chances and won the game 3-0, very comfortable, you'd say, like I say, in scoreline. Exeter actually allowing Burton to get their first win of the season. Not a good result for Exeter. A bit of a shock in my eyes, because Exeter have started the season very, very well. 9th after that result, but they were even higher, I believe, coming into this one. Burton get their first win of the season. So they were 9th, they had 11 points, so that's when Burton just had their single point. Now got 4 points, of course, a very good win for Burton, and their first win of the season. Could they be going on a bit of a survival chase? We'll have to wait and see. Oxford United against MK Dons, we touched on that one. 6-3, what a game, we spoke about that. 1-1 between Fleetwood and Charlton. That'll be frustrating for Charlton. That will be frustrating, but a good point against Fleetwood. And actually Fleetwood, Charlton can't be too frustrated, because really in that first half, Fleetwood the much better side. A little bit more equal in that second half, but generally, Charlton, they'll be thinking they should be winning that game in terms of quality, but Fleetwood, I don't want to disrespect Fleetwood, because they're having a really good start to the season, certainly winning the draw league. They're drawing a lot of games, but they are looking strong. They are looking strong. They were 1-0 up at half time, and thankfully for Charlton, they did rescue a point from the game. But fair play to Fleetwood. For Charlton, they'll be a little bit frustrated, I imagine. 2-1 Port Vale against Shrewsbury Town. Accrington winning against Cheltenham, a very big win for Accrington Stanley, because we know they were struggling coming into this game. They were 21st in that relegation zone, but they do win the game 1-0. Against Cheltenham. First half, definitely the better side, you'd say. Definitely had more of the ball in that attacking phase. Second half, a little bit more equal. Actually, for the last 30 minutes, Cheltenham tried to chase an equalising goal. They're unable to do so. And that is all of the games from this match week. Hopefully did enjoy it. Like I said at the start, very sort of new surroundings, very difficult, very challenging. I'm sort of I'm a bit of a wreck at the moment, but it will turn out okay. It will turn out okay. I believe in that. And if you're in this transition as well, if you're sort of going through, maybe to a new job, maybe you're going from sixth form to a new job, or whatever your new journey, new chapter is. I'm on one right now, and I'm feeling really, really up and down. And I'm not scared to say it. I'm confident enough to sort of express that's how I feel. I've got such an amazing community, and I know you're such fantastic people, and I know you'll understand. So yeah, it's a journey, but one I'm really looking to. I'm excited for it, but I'm also, in the short term, I'm a little bit uneasy, but it will turn around, and this will be quite therapeutic, because this is normality, and the normality that I want, or not I want, but I've had for obviously a long, long time is where I feel most comfortable, and this is an aspect of where I feel most comfortable. So this has been a really good, sort of how long we've been going, about 40 minutes, and it's been really, really pleasing actually, and actually been a really good break from sort of being quite lonely. But like I say, that loneliness will go away, and I'm sure of it. So anyway, let's stop talking. Let's take care. Let's part ways for the time being. I'll be back very, very soon. If you're watching this on Sunday, which you will be tomorrow against with Tom, that'll be coming out. This was part 2 coming out tomorrow, so enjoy that, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Love you all, by the way. Thank you so much as well. Take care.